Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. I am your host, Greg Wright. We're going to get into the top news stories coming out of Maryland this evening throughout the course of the day, of course. We want to shine a spotlight on what mainstream media refuses to cover. We want to make sure that Governor Wes Moore and all other sanctuary state governors throughout the United States they need to know that there are people like me and you and my subscribers and subscribers on other channels that are watching them very closely. We're going to get into the top stories coming out of Maryland throughout the course of the last, I'd say, week, maybe. So today marks the 2 year anniversary of the tragic shooting death of 2 year old Jeremy Poe Carreras on February 8th, 2024, in Langley Park, Maryland. That's Prince George's County. He was an innocent bystander caught in the crossfire during the shootout between two groups of men outside an apartment complex, reported over drug distribution territories. Jeremy was walking with his mother at the tender age of 2 years old. At the time, his mother was also shot, but she survived with non-life threatening injuries. Meanwhile, her son did not survive. The mental anguish, the depression, the grit to get over it, right? You have to power through this stuff if you really want to make something of your life. I believe that challenges exist in our lives to prepare us for the next great thing to solve for us and for other people. So we're going to start the show off with that little piece of information, ladies and gentlemen. But the latest controversy involving Maryland Governor Wes Moore centers on a massive sewage spill into the Potomac River from the Potomac Interceptor pipe, which has drawn public blame from President Trump. You see, when a sanctuary governor such as Wes Moore has an issue within his state, most mainstream media, written media forms, they can't help themselves but to include Trump in sanctuary governor failures. I can have an opinion as a president about a governor who is mismanaging the state without being tied to that state governor's failures. I think that's a fair assessment to be made. Every time a Democrat makes a mistake, they try to tie it to Trump in some shape, form, or fashion. And it's mostly because Trump is expressing his opinion about the person and the situation. Much like mainstream media, all Democrats and their supporters, they share their opinions about President Trump, even when no one wants to hear it. We're going to move on, right? So I'm not going to get into all that Trump stuff. We see it every day. We see the Trump derangement syndrome going on every day among folks on national television, written form media, um, social media, right? So Wes Moore's political analysts have framed this risky escalation, the escalation of verbiage and rhetoric between Governor Wes Moore and the Trump administration due to Wes Moore's mismanagement of Maryland. This average person who was managing the lives of probably one of the most expensive states in America dares to challenge Trump and the mess that Wes Moore made. Sewage pipes spilling into the river. How many people go fishing in that river? So his political analysts are saying, hey, you know, when you escalate with Trump, you're probably going to lose, especially we're in a mid-term election year, 2026. It's going to happen in November. One expert noting that Moore's repeated criticism of Trump may have provoked the president's response, advising Democrats to avoid poking. Gotta avoid poking Papa Bear Trump, right? Republican Republican sources, including Maryland's GOP, have amplified Trump's narrative, portraying Moore as more focused on national media appearances and bashing Trump on state issues. I happen to agree with that. Meanwhile, Democratic allies and media outlets have defended Moore. That's no surprise, right? So here's some of the so that got that, and then I asked AI to give me some of the top stories coming out of Maryland, and I should have been more specific with my query because it gave me some nice happy talk stuff like, well, Potomac River sewage spill, that's not happy. Congressional redistricting push, try to squeeze more U.S. congressional seats from Maryland. And you know, you have a state like Virginia, where I live, and you find that there are deep pockets of conservatism within the state. I would say that this state is more conservative than liberal or Democrat. When I say conservative, I mean just the word conservative. You save, you don't go outside with your pants hanging, you don't go outside with your breasts hanging out, you're decent, you're not cursing in public, you're not, you know, you're doing what your mama and your grandmama taught you. You're doing what your papa and your grandpapa taught you, basically. Being a decent human being. That's what I mean by conservative. Now, if you want to put a further label on that, I would consider myself a Republican slash independent, just depending on the issue of the day. Because I sway either way when it comes to certain issues, but I'm mostly conservative. Actually, I'm conservative through and through. Enough about me. Let's get to so my point is that like a state in Virginia, there are more conservatives that are in the state of Virginia that I believe, and I believe that those individuals should be voting independent or Republican. But when it comes to U.S. Senate representation for the state of Virginia, you have two Democrats, uh, Tim Kaine and Mark, I forgot his last name. I called those two losers last week to urge them to vote for the Save America Act, which requires that a person be a United States citizen before registering to vote, and voter ID at the place where you go vote on voting day. You must present a valid ID proving who you are. And you know, it's amazing how conservative Virginia is, but yet we're being represented by two radical left Democrats in the U.S. Senate. You got the sphere, venue, economic boost. You got let's get to the good stuff, right? Top Maryland crime news: shooting at Wooten High School in Rockville, homicide at Potomac Living Facility, Silver Spring man sentenced for child exploitation, man critically injured in Baltimore County police encounter. Recent shootings and homicide tracker in Baltimore. I guess that's a database. Arrest in 2025 Baltimore homicide. Fatal pedestrian crash in Charles County, Maryland. I'm not going to sit here and read all this stuff to you. It's pretty self-explanatory when you think about it. Let's go here. Let's go here.
A wild story here. Condo residents in Maryland have been without heat, water, or power for months now, and now they're being forced out and have a new fear that their homes might be taken over by the homeless. Alexandria Hoff is joining us live in Hyattsville, Maryland, just a few miles from Washington. Alex, what's going on here?
Hi, Bill. Yeah, so the sentiment we are getting from some of these condo residents is that they fear this is the terminal end stage of what happens when a homeless encampment grows outside your doorstep and eventually moves inside. And today it is the paying residents who are the ones packing up. Prince George's County, Maryland has deemed this property unfit for habitation. The condo management company Quasar says they believe homeless intruders vandalized a portion of the heating system in November, eventually leading to pipes bursting, walls, ceilings caving in, power going out. Quasar says this could have been avoided if the county had been more responsive to the encampment and open-air drug market. Condo residents of certain buildings have been ordered to vacate by tomorrow.
Once they do that, then this encampment comes in and they occupy the property, and nobody's doing anything about that. So they're basically giving this property to the encampment behind us.
So resident owners are most concerned about where they go from here, but some feel that county services being provided to this homeless encampment only made things go downhill faster.
You're smoking crack in here, using the bathroom in our hallways, in our laundry facilities, sleeping in the laundry facilities, sleeping on the steps. I mean, basically making this their home.
It's not my home no more.
Right. So just in case you guys missed the plot here in the story, you got Maryland condo residents forced out of homes as the homeless takes over the property. I want to get into my spiel about sanctuary states and sanctuary cities in a little bit, but you've been paying rent, you've been paying for insurance to cover your property inside the rental property. You've been going to work, paying taxes, and you mean to tell me that whatever county this place is in, you mean to tell me that the county officials couldn't do anything about the encampment that was across the street from the apartment complex and got rid of the encampment? You mean to tell me that police ignored calls about the encampment and the drug distribution allegedly going on in that encampment? You mean to tell me that the local police had nothing on that? Couldn't do anything? I find that hard to believe. I find it hard to believe.
In Prince George's County, tenants of the Marylander condos tell us that they've been without heat since Thanksgiving. Our Dave Laval explains why their experience could ultimately lose their homes in less than 2 weeks.
Hold up for a second, man. Yo, that shit took me by surprise, y'all. Hold up. What? They've been without heat. They've been without heat since Thanksgiving? And this report is like 8 days ago, right? So hold on, let me play that shit back. I mean, it's not funny, man. I just got caught off guard, y'all. I got caught off guard, y'all.
In Prince George's County, tenants of the Marylander condos tell us that they've been without heat since Thanksgiving. Our Dave Laval explains why their experience could ultimately lose their homes in less than 2 weeks.
Here's how bad things are here at the Marylander condominiums. One tenant says he melts snow in order to get enough water to flush the toilets.
We're all past the breaking point.
Scott Barber and his mother bundle up in their home. There's really no choice.
As you can see, the coldest room in the house is 32 degrees.
The Barbers said they lost heat back in October. The heat went out in half the buildings Thanksgiving Eve. Property managers blamed a nearby homeless camp for vandalizing one of the boilers. Managers said they cannot get financing to repair the property until the camp is removed.
I am pissed.
Linda Barber says she suffered hypothermia in the condo last week.
So I got cold, I got the chills, I just couldn't regulate my temperature. And I felt like I was dying.
A water leak last week badly damaged Linda's bedroom. Plus, there's very little electricity to the building. The Barbers now stay at a hotel.
That's $3,000 a month that we're paying for a hotel, plus the close to $1,600 a month in condo fees. It's not survivable.
Now comes word the Barbers and others have to move. A judge ruled last week it's no longer safe for them to live there. Affected tenants have less than 2 weeks to vacate the property.
I'm worried about my 73-year-old mother. I'm worried about my brother. We have 2 cats. I'm worried about them. It's like, when is enough?
Property managers
Yeah, so look, I feel for the guy. I've been hit with unforeseen expenses that had the implication of if I didn't do it, then that would have jeopardized my freedom. And I had to spend money to defend myself. But sometimes those emergencies come at the wrong time, like really the wrong time. And it leaves you prioritizing what you pay for and what you don't pay for. So I get it. I feel for this guy, man. You know? I see myself in this guy right here. So you mean to tell me that I'm still paying these condo fees of nearly $1,600 a month, but yet I'm not getting the type of service that I should be getting from the management company or the owner of the property? He should just stop paying those fees. And you know, this started happening in October 2025, before Thanksgiving. And he said the coldest room in the house was 32 degrees. Are you kidding me? That's crazy. His mother almost suffered fatal injury from hypothermia. Why isn't this news being broadcasted nationally? Why isn't this a syndication across the nation? Why isn't it? I mean, if this guy right here is going through this in Maryland, just imagine where else this is taking place. This could be taking place in Chicago, uh, you know, places in Colorado where it's much colder. It's just a sad story, folks. Sad, sad story. But I want to move on to the next clip here. Here we go.
Welcome
This
back
is
in. Let's
tragic.
take you back to that breaking news out of Montgomery County that we told you at the top of this hour. Police say a child is dead after an accidental shooting in Montgomery Village. Our Katie Lesso just arriving to the scene there on Maple Leaf Drive. Katie, I know you're just getting there, but what have you been able to learn from being on the scene?
Now, Montgomery Village, I used to live in, it's not Rockville, it's, what's that place in Maryland? Montgomery, it was in Montgomery County. I forgot the particular town. I was stationed at the Pentagon about 12 years ago, and I lived near Montgomery Village. And I got to tell you that Montgomery County as a whole, I don't believe it's, Montgomery County is one of the richest counties in Maryland, and I'd say they're probably in the top 20 when it comes to the nation. So Montgomery County, Gaithersburg, Maryland. I lived in Gaithersburg, Maryland. It took me yapping my jaws before I was able to remember the city that I once lived in. Gaithersburg, Maryland. That was a clean area, I have to admit. Expensive as hell. They charge you $5 or 5 cents for a grocery shopping bag. But overall, crime was down. I lived a short while in Montgomery Village. I got to tell you, that area is ghetto as all get out. I make no apologies in saying that. I try my best not to associate myself with anything ghetto. With ghetto, you get loud noise, people out in the streets at 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning during a work night, a work week, not considering the fact that folks have to sleep to get up early for work in the morning. You have cars with flat tires and cars with missing wheels and oil marks on the pavement from leaking transmissions. You have kids that don't listen, don't respect their parents, cursing here and there, smoking green in the street, smell like a skunk out there. I don't want to have nothing to do with ghetto areas, right? So it's no wonder that we're getting this Montgomery Village shooting report. I'm gonna wind it back real quick for you.
Take you back to that breaking news out of Montgomery County that we told you at the top of this hour. Police say a child is dead after an accidental shooting in Montgomery Village. Our Katie Lesso just arriving to the scene there on Maple Leaf Drive. Katie, I know you're just getting there, but what have you been able to learn from being on the scene?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, we do know that child has passed away in what police are calling an accidental shooting. We are still waiting to hear more from police. We do expect an update in the next 20 or minutes, so we will, of course, get you that update live here on WUSA 9. But let's take you around the scene. We are on Maple Leaf Drive. You can see police, Montgomery County Police are here at the scene, and over here they have taped off part of the street. If you take a look straight beyond me, you can see there's a police presence in front of the home. We've also seen a lot of neighbors out here really trying to understand what happened. I spoke to one of the neighbors down the street. He had no idea what had happened. He was absolutely devastated when we told him that the reports were that a child had died here. Again, this is just a devastating scene. We are waiting to learn more information from police, expecting an update from them at 4:45, but a little about where we are right now. We are on Maple Leaf Drive, again in Montgomery Village. This is a community. It's a lot of different townhomes, it looks like, and a lot of people out here looking around, trying to get an understanding of what happened and finding out, unfortunately, that a child has passed away. We do not know much about that child or really anything about what led up to the shooting. Police only telling us at this point that it was an accidental shooting. But again, Annie, we expect to hear from police in the next 15-20 minutes or so and hope to get you an update by then. In Montgomery Village, I'm Katie Lesso. Back to you.
All right, tragic.
So we got another tragic story, and I apologize up front, folks. I keep forgetting to mute my mic, and you may experience a slight double feed, if not slight, overbearing for some. So I apologize up front for that.
We have learned is that this is a 6-year-old little boy who died. Unfortunately, here at the scene, police are...
Okay, so we got that overbearing for some. So I apologize up front for that.
We have learned is that this is a 6-year-old little boy who died. Unfortunately, here at the scene, police are...
Okay, so we... All right, hey. That's weird, right? We're going to get back to Governor Wes Moore. I'm going to wrap it up, right? Governor, what in the world is going on in your state? You got homeless people taking over apartment complexes from hardworking, tax-paying Americans. You have a man living with his mother that hasn't been without heat since October 2025. The coldest room in the house is 32 degrees. His mother almost fell victim to hypothermia. And then the landlord or the person that owns the building is asking them to leave within 2 weeks. The man and his mother paying nearly $1,600 in condo fees since October, when this problem first emerged. My question to the young man is, if you were not getting the type of service that you signed up for when you first registered to live in the condo, why would you continue to pay condominium fees? It's ridiculous. And then you're talking about another, what, $2,000 in a month for to live in there. It's just and then you have a 6-year-old that got accidentally shot in Montgomery Village in Maryland. We have a person in Westmore, who is the governor of the state of Maryland, claims to be a sanctuary state, and most of the cities in Maryland claim to be sanctuary cities. I have information for Governor Westmore if he chooses to hear it, and that is sanctuary status of a state or city or county or municipality means that you are providing a safe place, a sanctuary for criminals, illegal aliens, criminal illegal aliens, people who commit crime who are here legally. And what you're also doing as a sanctuary state or a sanctuary city is that you didn't plan to be a sanctuary state or a sanctuary city. When this stuff first popped off in 2021, you had to siphon off as a governor money that was already allocated to state troopers and education system and other things that provide public safety to your tax-paying citizens. You had to siphon off money from the police departments and from the fire departments across your state to provide benefits to criminals. That's what a sanctuary state or city does. The governor or the mayor of that state or city, respectively, will steal tax money from hardworking Americans living in that state of Maryland and hand that money to illegal aliens and other criminals who are here legally operating in a violent fashion. And then on top of that, most of the illegal aliens who arrived in sanctuary cities like New York, Chicago, Detroit, Minneapolis, many of those guys were placed in Black and Hispanic communities. When Ron DeSantis, the governor from Florida, started busing up illegal aliens from the good state of Florida to New York, the first place the mayor of New York put those unexpected illegal aliens was in a hotel in Midtown, New York, costing taxpayers millions of dollars a day to feed them and house them. And then there were subsequent housing arrangements made from the hotel deal initially. And those housing accommodations were mostly in Black and brown communities where the community members and the residents who were there legally opposed the idea, because we don't know who these people are. They haven't been vetted. They haven't been tested for COVID. When this stuff first started popping off. And so I just want to paint a picture of what a sanctuary state